Donald Trump's attorney, Evan Corcoran, arrived at a Washington, D.C. courthouse. You can see him there to testify to a grand jury without the protection of attorney-client privilege. Corcoran must also hand over documents and notes related to his legal work with the former president. This is all about the Mar-a-Lago classified documents investigation.
Minutes ago, and typically these types of appearances can last for hours. So we are going to be waiting. It is entirely confidential what happens inside that grand jury room. So we won't be able to see it like we do other court hearings. But this is really a critical day for the special counsel's investigation, and also a really unusual day to have a lawyer for Donald Trump being forced to come back to court and testify again. John?
This is around the certification that was submitted in response to the subpoena saying we have diligently searched for all documents and we have no more documents with classified markings. That document was drafted by Evan Corcoran, but he didn't sign it. Christina Bobb, another Trump lawyer, signed it. So the question is, where did they get that information? Did they get that information from Trump? Why did Christina Bobb sign it? Everything around that certification. The second really important thing is that there was a conversation between Corcoran and Trump on the day that the Trump organization received a subpoena for surveillance footage from Mar-a-Lago. People were seen bringing boxes in and out of the storage room. Why did they do that? What was that conversation? I mean, you can imagine what would have happened. We got this subpoena. What's going on at Mar-a-Lago with the boxes, Mr. Trump, and that conversation. So that's another topic.
Okay, so picture this. You're Donald Trump. You've been telling everyone that you're winning, that the American people love you, that Republicans are going to dominate elections, that your endorsements are golden, that MAGA is the future. And then election night happens, November 2025. Off your elections, governor races in Virginia and New Jersey, mayor's race in New York City, and you're watching the results come in, expecting victories, expecting your endorsed candidates to win, expecting validation of your leadership, but instead, you watch Democrats sweep. Virginia elects Abigail Spanberger as governor, a Democrat, in a state you thought Republicans could win. New Jersey elects Mickey Sherrill, another Democrat, in a purple state where Republicans had hopes. New York City elects Zohran Mamdani as mayor, a progressive Democrat who immediately attacks you, calls you a despot and authoritarian, says his victory is a rejection of everything you stand for. And you're watching all of this in real time, seeing state after state, race after race, go to Democrats, seeing your endorsed candidates lose, seeing voters reject Republicans. And according to insiders, you're panicking. You're obsessed over the results, calling advisors, demanding explanations, asking why Republicans are losing, blaming everyone except yourself. And the media notices. Fox News anchors are calling it a big loss for the GOP. Analysts are saying voters are rejecting Trump and Republican leadership. Polls show that 52% of voters blame you and Republicans for the ongoing government shutdown, that economic concerns and the shutdown drove voters to Democrats. But before we go any further, real quick, let's be honest, you can't really trust headlines anymore. That's why we built Pump Politics to bring you real stories, real context, and no corporate spin. If you want to stay ahead of the headlines, join our free newsletter. We'll send the news straight to your inbox every day. Just click the link in the description to join. And if you just want to support what we're doing, join us, be part of the community that actually cares about the truth. All right, let's get back to the video.
President Trump's lawyers, they looked the Chief Justice right in the eye and said that Americans are going to pay 30 to 80% of these tariffs. And we know as Americans, right, if you want to pass a tax, that's something that's got to be done in Congress. I've never heard Republicans brag about increasing taxes. In the court, they talk about we're going to have $4 trillion, that's right, $1 trillion increase of money coming into this country because of the tariffs. Yeah. And they admit 30 to 80% are paid by Americans. I've never heard Republicans brag about raising taxes on Americans so much as I have in the last year.
This is wild. This is absolutely devastating for Trump, because off-year elections are seen as referendums on the party in power. And voters just delivered a clear verdict. They don't like what Trump and Republicans are doing. They're voting for Democrats, rejecting MAGA, and sending a message heading into 2026. So let's talk about it. Let's break down what happened in these elections, why Democrats won, what it means for Trump's political future, and why this is such a brutal reality check. Because trust me, this is huge. This is voters rejecting Trump's leadership. This is evidence that MAGA momentum is collapsing. And this is a warning sign for 2026. Now let's start with Virginia. Virginia has become a swing state in recent years. Democrats have won statewide in recent cycles, but Republicans thought they had a chance in 2025. They nominated a Trump-endorsed candidate, someone who embraced MAGA, who supported Trump's policies, who ran on Trump's agenda. But Democrats nominated Abigail Spanberger, a moderate Democrat, former CIA officer, former congresswoman, someone with broad appeal, and Spanberger won decisively. She ran on protecting health care, on ending the government shutdown, on bringing stability and competence. And Virginia voters responded. They chose the moderate Democrat over the Trump-endorsed Republican. That's significant because it shows that Trump's endorsement isn't helping, that MAGA isn't popular in swing states, that voters want alternatives to Trump's chaos. Now let's talk about New Jersey. New Jersey is another purple state. It leans Democratic, but Republicans can win there. Phil Murphy, the Democratic governor, was term limited, so there was an open seat. Republicans saw an opportunity, nominated a strong candidate with Trump's backing, but Democrats nominated Mickey Sherrill, a former Navy pilot, former federal prosecutor, former congresswoman, someone with a compelling biography and moderate positions, and Sherrill won comfortably. She ran against the government shutdown, against Trump's policies, for pragmatic governance, and New Jersey voters chose her, rejected the Trump-endorsed Republican, showed that even in competitive states, Democrats can win by running against Trump. Now, New York City is particularly interesting. NYC hasn't had a Republican mayor since Bloomberg, and Bloomberg was more independent than Republican, so Democrats usually win easily. But this year's race was significant because of who won. Zohran Mamdani, a progressive state legislator, won the Democratic primary and then the general election, and Mamdani is unapologetically anti-Trump. He's called Trump a despot, an authoritarian, a threat to democracy, and he won decisively in America's largest city, sending a message that progressives can win by directly attacking Trump, that voters respond to strong anti-Trump messaging, that Trump is a liability, not an asset. So across these races, the pattern is clear. Democrats won, Trump-endorsed or Trump-aligned candidates lost, and voters showed they're rejecting Trump's leadership. Now, why did Democrats win? Several factors contributed. The government shutdown is hugely unpopular. It's the longest shutdown in history. Federal workers aren't getting paid, services are disrupted, and voters blame Trump and Republicans. Polls show 52% hold Trump and the GOP responsible. So voters punish Republicans at the ballot box. Economic concerns are driving voters. People are worried about costs, about jobs, about the economy, and they associate Trump's policies with economic problems. His tariffs raising prices, his shutdown hurting workers, his governance creating instability. So they voted for Democrats promising stability. Trump's style is exhausting voters. The constant chaos, the attacks, the drama. People are tired of it. They want normalcy. They want competent governance, and Democrats offer that. Republicans are divided and weak. The party is fractured between MAGA loyalists and moderates, between those who want to follow Trump and those who want to move on. That division weakens Republican campaigns, makes it harder to win. Democrats are energized and united. They're motivated to oppose Trump. They're working hard on campaigns. They're turning out voters, and that energy advantage helps them win close races. So multiple factors came together to produce Democratic victories, and all of them reflect badly on Trump and his leadership. Now, Trump's response has been telling. According to reports, Trump spent election night obsessing over results. He was glued to polling data, making calls, getting updates, and panicking as results came in showing Democratic wins. Trump is blaming others. He's saying Republicans lost because his name wasn't on the ballot, because of the shutdown that Democrats caused, because candidates didn't embrace MAGA enough. He's deflecting responsibility, not acknowledging his role. Trump is doubling down. Instead of moderating or compromising, Trump is becoming more aggressive, more extreme, trying to energize his base. But that strategy is backfiring, making moderate voters less likely to support Republicans. Conservative media is noticing. Even Fox News anchors are calling this a reality check, saying Trump and the GOP need to change course, that voters are rejecting their approach. And when Fox News is criticizing Trump, that's significant. It means the reality of electoral losses is undeniable. So Trump is receiving a brutal reality check. Voters are telling him they don't like his leadership, don't support his policies, don't want MAGA, and Trump is struggling to respond effectively. So yeah, this is the story. Trump getting a brutal reality check as election results collapse overnight. Democrats sweeping governor and mayor races, Trump panicking and obsessing over losses, and clear evidence that voters are rejecting Trump and MAGA heading into 2026. Let's break it down. All right, so let's dig into what these election results reveal about American politics and Trump's standing. Because off-year elections tell us a lot about what voters are thinking, let's start with understanding off-year elections. Off-year elections happen in odd-numbered years. They include gubernatorial races in some states, mayoral races, state legislature races, and special elections. They don't include federal races like Congress or president, but they're still important politically. Why? Because they're seen as referendums on the party controlling federal power. If Republicans control the presidency and Congress, off-year elections test whether voters approve. Losses suggest voters are unhappy. Wins suggest voters support the direction. Historically, the party in power often loses off-year elections. It's a pattern. Voters use these elections to register discontent, to send messages, to balance power, and this year followed that pattern. With Republicans in power, voters punished them, elected Democrats instead. Off-year results predict future elections. How parties do in off years often forecast how they'll do in the next midterm or presidential election. Strong off-year performance suggests momentum. Weak performance suggests trouble ahead. So these Democratic wins in 2025 suggest Republicans are in trouble heading into 2026, that Democrats have momentum, that voters are trending against Trump and the GOP. Now let's talk specifically about Virginia. Virginia has been trending Democratic in recent presidential elections. Democrats have won in gubernatorial races. Democrats have won the last few. The state has suburbs that have moved left, Northern Virginia especially, highly educated, diverse, affluent voters who reject Trump. Trump's unpopularity hurts Republicans. His low approval in Virginia drags down Republican candidates, makes it hard for them to win statewide. Spanberger ran a smart campaign. She focused on healthcare, on protecting ACA, on ending the shutdown, on kitchen table issues voters care about. She avoided being too partisan, positioned herself as moderate and pragmatic, that appealed to swing voters. Republicans couldn't overcome Trump's unpopularity. Despite having a decent candidate, the Trump endorsement was a liability, made the candidate seem too extreme, too aligned with chaos. So Democrats won Virginia by running against Trump, by offering stability and moderation. And that's a playbook that works. Now let's talk about New Jersey. New Jersey is similar to Virginia politically. Suburbs that have moved Democratic, educated voters who dislike Trump, a diverse electorate that leans left. Cheryl had a compelling profile, military service, law enforcement background, congressional experience. She's the kind of candidate who appeals to swing voters, who seems competent and serious. Republicans struggle with messaging. They tried to run on crime and economy, but voters saw through it, blamed Republicans for the shutdown, for economic problems, chose the Democrat. The shutdown was particularly damaging in New Jersey. Lots of federal workers, lots of people affected by government services being disrupted, and they blamed Trump, and Republicans voted Democratic to punish them. So New Jersey followed a similar pattern. Democratic candidate with broad appeal, running against Trump and shutdown, winning by mobilizing voters who want change. Now New York City is a different situation. NYC is heavily Democratic. Republicans rarely compete. So the real election was the Democratic primary, and that's where Mamdani won. He beat more moderate Democrats, won by mobilizing progressives, by attacking Trump forcefully, by promising bold policies, and then he won the general election easily, as expected in NYC. But his victory is significant because of what it represents. It shows progressives can win, that attacking Trump energizes voters, that there's appetite for bold leadership. Mamdani's immediate attacks on Trump matter. He called Trump a despot, an authoritarian, didn't pull punches, and voters responded. They want leaders willing to stand up to Trump, to call him out, to fight. So Mamdani's victory emboldens progressives nationally, shows that strong anti-Trump messaging works, that voters want Democrats to fight, not compromise. Now let's talk about the shutdown's political impact. The shutdown dominated the election. Voters were angry about it. Federal workers couldn't pay bills. Government services were disrupted. The economy was suffering, and voters blamed Trump and Republicans. Exit polls and surveys showed shutdown was top issue, more important than other concerns. Decisive in how people voted. Democrats effectively messaged on it. They said Republicans were holding government hostage, hurting workers, causing chaos, and voters agreed. Republicans couldn't defend it. They tried to blame Democrats, but voters weren't buying it. They saw Republicans refusing to compromise, saw Trump demanding his way, and blamed Republicans. The shutdown suppressed Republican turnout. Some Republican voters stayed home, didn't want to support a party causing such dysfunction. That hurt Republican candidates. The shutdown motivated Democratic turnout. Democrats were angry, wanted to punish Republicans, showed up to vote. That helped Democratic candidates. So the shutdown was decisive. It hurt Republicans badly, cost them elections, and the damage will continue if the shutdown continues. Now let's talk about economic concerns. Voters are worried about the economy. Costs are up. Inflation is high. Wages aren't keeping pace. And voters associate this with Trump's policies. Trump's tariffs have raised prices on imported goods, on materials for manufacturing, making everything more expensive. And voters notice the shutdown is hurting the economy, reducing growth, creating uncertainty, making businesses hesitant to invest. Voters see this. Voters blame Trump for instability. His governance style creates chaos, unpredictability, makes businesses nervous, makes workers anxious. Democrats promised economic stability, said they end shutdown, would work to lower costs, would bring competence to governance. And voters responded. They chose Democrats because they want economic stability, want government to function, want policies that help rather than hurt. So economic concerns drove votes to Democrats, and that's bad news for Trump and Republicans. Now, let's talk about Trump's declining influence. Trump's endorsements aren't helping. Candidates Trump endorses are losing. That shows his influence is waning, that voters don't follow his lead. Trump's approval is low, nationally and in swing states. More people disapprove than approve. That drags down Republicans associated with him. Trump's base isn't enough. Even if Trump's hardcore supporters turn out, that's not enough to win. Republicans need moderate voters too, and moderates are rejecting Trump. Trump is making Republicans unelectable. In swing states and districts, being associated with Trump is a liability, makes it harder to win, hurts candidates' chances. Republicans are starting to realize this. Some are distancing themselves from Trump, not seeking his endorsement, running their own campaigns, trying to win without Trump. That's a sign Trump's grip on the party is weakening, that Republicans are looking for ways to win without him. Now let's talk about Democratic strategy going forward. Democrats have found a winning message, running against Trump, against the shutdown, for stability and competence. That works. They'll continue using it. Democrats are fielding strong candidates, people with compelling backgrounds, who appeal to swing voters, who can win in competitive races. That's key to their success. Democrats are united and energized. Despite some internal divisions, Democrats are coming together to oppose Trump. That unity is powerful, helps them win. Democrats are building for 2026. These off-year wins give them momentum, money, confidence, organization, all of which helps in the next election. Democrats are attacking Trump directly, not pulling punches, calling him out, and voters respond, want leaders willing to fight Trump, not accommodate him. So Democrats have a clear path forward. Keep doing what's working, build on these victories, head into 2026 with momentum. Now let's talk about Republican problems. Republicans are divided between Trump loyalists and moderates, between those who want to fight and those who want to compromise. That division is paralyzing. Republicans have no clear message. They're not united on issues, not offering clear alternatives, just attacking Democrats without positive vision. That doesn't win elections. Republicans are stuck with Trump. Even though he's a liability, they can't move on. He still controls too much of the party, still demands loyalty. Republicans are losing key demographics, educated voters, suburban voters, young voters, all trending Democratic, and Republicans aren't winning them back. Republicans face tough 2026. If these trends continue, Republicans will lose seats in 2026, might lose control of Congress, might see Trump's agenda completely blocked. So Republicans are in crisis. These election losses show deep problems, and without major changes, they're heading for more losses. So yeah, this is where we are. Democrats winning off-year elections decisively, Trump panicking and obsessing over results, and clear signs that voters are rejecting Trump and MAGA. Let's talk about what this means for 2026. Okay, so let's break down what these election results mean for 2026 and beyond, because off-year elections are predictive. They tell us where politics is heading. First, let's talk about 2026 implications. Democrats have momentum. Winning builds on winning. Success breeds success. Democrats have energy and confidence heading into 2026. That helps with fundraising, recruiting candidates, and organizing. Republicans are on defense. After these losses, Republicans will be worried, playing defense rather than offense, trying to hold seats rather than win new ones. That's a weak position. The shutdown will be a major issue. If it continues, or even if it ends soon, voters will remember, will blame Republicans, will vote Democratic to punish them. Democrats will run against Trump. Just like in these off-year races, Democrats will make Trump the issue, will tie Republican candidates to him, will win by mobilizing anti-Trump voters. Swing districts will trend Democratic. If moderates are rejecting Trump in off-year elections, they'll do the same in 2026. That puts Republican seats in swing districts at risk. Republicans might lose Congress. If trends continue, Democrats could gain seats, could win majorities, could block Trump's agenda completely. So these off-year results suggest 2026 will be bad for Republicans, that Democrats are positioned to win, that Trump's influence is hurting the GOP. Second, let's talk about Trump's 2026 prospects if he runs. Trump looks weaker. These losses show Trump isn't invincible, that voters will reject him. That makes him seem beatable. Primary challengers might emerge. Other Republicans might see opportunity, might think they can beat Trump. Primary challengers might emerge. Other Republicans might see opportunity, might think they can beat Trump, might challenge him for the nomination. Trump's base might shrink. If even hardcore Republicans are worried about electability, some might support alternatives, might want someone who can win. Trump faces voter backlash, the shutdown, the chaos, the dysfunction. All of it creates voter anger that hurts Trump. Democrats will have strong attacks. They can point to these off-year losses, can say Trump is a loser, can't win elections, can say voters reject him. Trump's campaign will struggle with legal troubles, with low approval, with electoral losses. Trump's campaign will face headwinds, hard to win with so many problems. So Trump's prospects for 2026 are declining. These off-year losses are warning signs. Show he's in trouble. Show voters are rejecting him. Third, let's talk about Republican Party's future. The party is at a crossroads. Continue following Trump and lose elections, or break with Trump and risk-based backlash. That's the dilemma. Some Republicans will distance themselves, will decide Trump is too toxic, will run their own campaigns, will try to win without him. Others will double down, will embrace Trump more, will try to energize base, will hope that's enough. The party might fracture between Trump loyalists and moderates, between those committed to MAGA and those wanting to move on. That fracture could split the party, make it weaker. New leaders might emerge, younger Republicans, different style, not tied to Trump, who could offer new direction. But Trump won't go quietly. He'll fight to maintain control, attack those who challenge him, make life difficult for anyone trying to move party in different direction. So the Republican Party faces turbulent times, internal conflict, electoral losses, identity crisis. All of that weakens the party. Fourth, let's talk about what Democrats should do. Keep the pressure on. Don't let up. Keep attacking Trump. Keep highlighting Republican dysfunction. Keep offering alternatives. Field strong candidates. Find people who can win, who appeal to a broad range of voters, who can compete in swing districts. Stay united despite internal differences. Democrats need to stay focused on beating Republicans, can sort out internal issues after winning elections, focus on key issues, healthcare, economy, shut down, issues voters care about, where Democrats have advantage, build infrastructure, use momentum from off-year wins to build organization, raise money, recruit volunteers, all preparing for 2026. Don't be complacent. Wins are great, but don't guarantee future success. Have to keep working, keep earning votes. So Democrats have opportunity, but they have to execute, have to build on these wins, have to turn momentum into lasting success. Fifth, let's talk about what voters are saying. We want stability. Voters are tired of chaos, want government to function, want competent leadership. We reject extremism. Both Trump's style and policies are too extreme. Voters want moderation, want pragmatism. We care about kitchen table issues, healthcare, economy, jobs, not culture war stuff, not partisan battles, real issues affecting our lives. We'll hold politicians accountable. Voters will punish those who govern badly, who cause shutdowns, who create problems, and reward those who solve problems. We want change. Status quo isn't working. Voters want different leadership, different direction, new approaches. So voters are sending clear messages. Politicians who listen will win. Those who ignore will lose. 6. Let's talk about media narrative. Media is noticing the shift. Coverage is focusing on Democratic momentum, Republican troubles, Trump's declining influence. That shapes public perception. Conservative media is even critical. When Fox News says Republicans lost badly, that matters. Shows even friendly media recognizes problems. Narrative of Trump's invincibility is gone. Media is questioning whether Trump can win, whether Republicans can succeed following him. That narrative shift affects politics, makes donors hesitant, makes candidates nervous, makes voters doubt. Trump can't control narrative. Despite his efforts on social media, despite his attacks on media, he can't change the story, can't spin losses as wins. Reality is too clear. So media narrative is working against Trump, reinforcing that he's weak, that Republicans are losing, that Democrats are winning. So what's the bottom line? Trump got a brutal reality check. Democrats swept off-year elections, one Virginia governor, one New Jersey governor, one New York City mayor, all decisive wins. Trump panicked and obsessed. According to insiders, he spent election night panicking, demanding explanations, blaming others, showing he knows these losses are bad. Voters rejected Trump and MAGA. The pattern is clear. Voters don't like Trump's leadership, don't support his policies, are choosing Democrats instead. The shutdown is devastating politically. It's hurting Republicans badly, costing them elections, and if it continues, will cost them more. Economic concerns are driving voters to Democrats. People want stability, want government to function, want policies that help. Republicans are in crisis, divided, without clear message, losing elections, facing tough 2026. Democrats have momentum, winning, energized, united, positioned well for 2026. Trump's influence is declining. His endorsements aren't helping. His approval is low. Republicans are starting to distance themselves. 2026 looks bad for Republicans. If these trends continue, they'll lose seats, might lose Congress, might see Trump's agenda blocked. These off-year elections are predictive. They show where politics is heading, and it's heading away from Trump and MAGA toward Democrats and different leadership. This is Trump's reality check. Voters telling him they reject his leadership and heading into 2026. That's terrible news for him and his party. Stay tuned, because if Republicans don't change course, 2026 will be another disaster. More losses, more rejection of Trump, more evidence that MAGA is dying. The brutal reality is clear. Trump is losing, Republicans are losing, and voters want something different.